This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
98FM.
I am outraged. Well, I'm not totally outraged, but I have to say I found it a little bit upsetting watching the video of the under-17s in their penalty shootout, the Irish under-17s in their penalty shootout last night against Holland. Tell me a bit about the match itself. Ireland were doing very well.
I was very upset. I mean, it's a European Championship quarter-final. A massive game, and these are 16-year-olds, Adrian. You have to remember that at the end of the day. If you look at the incident itself, it doesn't look like there's a lot in it. I might actually play a bit of commentary from RTE if you got the fader up there.
Okay, yeah.
I think you might enjoy this. You see how quickly it all unravels. It's Stephen Alkin as the commentator and Noel King is the co-commentator. And Noel King is the man that gets very excited that's saying, Jimmy's saving penalties. Have a listen here.
Can Corcoran keep Ireland alive? Yes, he can! What a save! Never let him do. You're quiet, Jimmy. Jimmy saving penalties. Did he move too soon? I don't care. Get over. In anybody's language.
He's not making them take it again,
He's making him take it again.
No, and he's giving them a yellow. Oh, no.
He can't give him a yellow.
He sent them off. He has. What's he doing?
Well,
What is he doing?
I have never seen a referee send off a player for coming off the line as a goalkeeper in a penalty shootout. Why has he yellow carded him? There will be second thoughts on this one, but here comes Redden for the second time against McEntee, and he scores and puts the Dutch into the semi-final. And the boos from the crowd will tell you that this is one of the most controversial moments in the history of football. Ireland have been robbed here without any question, and Martin O'Neill getting involved, he and Roy Keane in attendance at the match today.
The other question I have to ask is, could we have brought our reserve keeper on?
He's gone over to speak to the Czech referee Pruska. Shameful. And Colin O'Brien is there as well. And yes, the Republic of Ireland can make an appeal to UEFA, given the circumstances of this tournament and the way it works.
So, for people who didn't see the match, it was actually on television last night. It was on RTE2. He was basically, the young fella was already on a yellow card.
He got booked for time wasting, which was very harsh.
Right, okay, so he'd already been on a yellow card, and then young Jimmy Corcoran was about to, he was in goals to receive a penalty. And
a decisive spot kick.
Yeah.
I think that's tied at 4-4.
Right, and he moves before the ball is kicked. That's the bottom line, isn't it?
Which you're allowed move. You're allowed move left or right. You're not allowed to come off the line. And he says he warns the Dutch keeper. Now,
the Dutch keeper earlier had done the exact same thing.
And he warned him about it and told him not to do it again. It's not clear whether or not he actually warned Jimmy Corcoran about this before punishing him. I mean, I've seen a lot of people this morning and this afternoon say, that's the rule, that's the law. It doesn't mean that it needs to be applied in that way. You can use a common sense approach. Just because that is the letter of the law, I'm not so sure you should enforce it. I mean, the letter of the law says that if you're a free man of Dublin, you can graze sheep in Stephen's Green.
But do people actually do it? Yeah.
Absolutely not. You never, ever see that enforced. And I think it's a double penalty. Because not only is the penalty retaken, that's already been saved, but he sends the keeper off. Ireland have been punished twice.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Okay, well, I'm joined on the line. I'm delighted to be joined on the line by Jimmy's dad, Noel Corcoran. Noel, from your point of view, what happened?
Well, basically, as we know, it was the last penalty of the penalty shootout. Ireland, Jimmy had to save it to progress the shootout, which he duly did. And then the referee pulled him back for encroachment, as he says. He says he left the line too early before your man kicked it, which then we've seen the consequences after of that.
He was given a yellow card, and that was his second yellow, so he was subsequently sent off. And the debate is whether or not, and in fact I was listening to the commentators arguing about whether or not this is even a rule. And the first example of this at a soccer match. Do you know if it's a rule?
Well, we know now that the rules states that a referee is allowed to give a yellow card if a goal is scored. If a goal is not scored, he just leaves it and forgets about it, which he done, except for the first penalty that the Holland keeper saved. Was identical to what Jimmy done.
Yes, in fact, I saw that as well.
Yeah,
and he moved off. He moved before the ball was kicked. It was almost a replica of what Jimmy did, but the goalie penalised Jimmy with a yellow card.
Yeah. But if anyone that knows the way Jimmy does be coached with Cherry Orton, and that when he takes his penalties, he starts from behind the line to allow him to do that, and his trailing foot was actually on the line. That's the way he's been coached to do so. So, look, it was harsh, but unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. Now,
I noticed Martin O'Neill even went onto the pitch to talk to the ref. I think everybody was outraged by the ref's decision.
Oh, absolutely. But look, more so, we were outraged that the way he treated a very young player, which was obvious, the consequence of what was after happening. That this was only a 16-year-old. Yes, it's my son, but for any child to have to go through that, I thought it was very harsh.
Now, I saw your son, when he was walking off the pitch, he was desperately upset. How is he today? Look, he slept a little bit, but not a lot better. Look, but look, time will fix that. Hopefully, football. That's why we all play sport, Adrian, is for the ups and downs. Unfortunately, yeah. I have to say, the save itself was a cracking save. It was a super save, and such a pity. And had he been allowed that save, they would have gone on to. They would have basically kept the penalty shootout alive. Yes, and they would have gotten another chance then at sudden death. Which at that point we would have been very confident, because we were coming off that on a high then. So, look, it wasn't to be. So a save that should have been the moment of his young career, unfortunately, was tinged with a ref giving him a yellow card, which meant he was sent off. So unfortunately, it still is the moment of his career, but just for the wrong reason, unfortunately, yeah. All right, well, send him our regards and wish him the very best, and thanks very much indeed for talking to us on 98 FM. Thanks, Adrian. Thank you. I know.
This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy. 98